end of the year book tag. Hello, yes. Is there a time of year? Is it technically the end of the year? No, but I've seen a couple of creators do it, so I'm just jumping on the bandwagon because it sounds like a fun little tag and I quite like it. But also, if I sound a little bit congested, I'm not very well, so please forgive me for that. Question 1. Are there any books you started this year that you need to finish? Yes. House of Chains and Malazan book 4. I petered out a little bit on that, mainly because I got really tired. Then I got sick, and that is not a book to read when your brain isn't engaged. So I picked up some easier reads, and I need to get back to it. But to be fair, I'm not feeling that pull yet, because to be fair, I am struggling with House of Chains as a Malazan book. I loved Memories of Ice the whole way through, but House of Chains, a little bit of a struggle. It's going to take me a little bit longer to finish, but I should be done by the end of the year. Also, maybe Misery. I started Misery on audio months ago, and I got through part 1, and I'm not really sold on it. I'm not really sure if I'm a Stephen King kind of person. But yeah, I'm not sure I'm going to go back to Misery. I don't know. I do have the physical, but I just don't know if I'm going to like it. It's just, horror isn't really just my genre. I enjoyed it for what it was, despite the creepy scene. But yeah, I'm a bit unsure if I'm going to go back to Misery with Stephen King. The other one is The Plantagenet. With that one, I started reading that when I wasn't really into audiobooks till the middle of the year. I was listening to it on audiobooks. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but it was non-fiction, so I was quite happy to listen to non-fiction. Every story I picked up on Audible, I was like, I just wasn't feeling it. But I was enjoying that, but I feel like I have to go back and re-listen to it because I was doing it in little chunks, and like, it's such a big book and there's such a lot of information. I'm just like, it's a lot. So I'm either going to have to tandem read it or just power through it and hopefully understand what's going on, because I got about halfway through then I just stopped. But I am starting to have more of a love for non-fiction in audio format, even though I struggle sometimes with understanding and following a lot of things that's happening. But I'd listen to the Radium Girls, really enjoyed that. So I think it depends on the subject and also how I'm listening to it. So hopefully I will get to that for the end of the year. No promises on that one. Question number 2. Do you have an autumnal book to transition to the end of the year? I tend to not really look for autumnal books. Sometimes I get to think, oh, I want this kind of specific vibe, but sometimes it's not necessarily the books that will give me that vibe, right? It could just be a case of I just put spooky ambience on the telly and that will be enough. But what I have on my list is Cry Voidbringer, which is an arc I've got being published by Solaris in November. 6th of November, kind of when I read the blurb of this, which I don't actually have with me. Let's see if I can actually find it. In a broken system, do you save yourself or fight for the people you love? With the god's power waning, the Queen of Ashby must find another way to bolster her fight against her imperialist oppressors. The solution, wrenching children of other cultures from their homes and conspiring them into service. Hammer was one of those children. Now she's a jaded soldier waging Ashby's pupil war. I can't speak. I'm sorry. I don't know how to do words. Thinking only of her own survival, but when she accidentally rescues Viridian, a child with rare and potentially devastating powers, her priorities what are words? Her priorities shift. The girl appears to be the answer to the Queen's prayers, the perfect weapon to restore her kingdom's ancient borders, even if the colonized cities they reconquer don't have her version of liberation. Can Hammer protect the Viridian from the system that broke up for the girl's power unleashed in the world? I don't know what it says about this, but it kind of feels dark, and I'm in a dark mood, so Cry Voidbringer is one of them. But then you have the other side of me, which is also wanting Uncharmed, which is like a cozy witchy story. So it's dark or lighthearted for me. And then we also have Black Hunger, which I've heard really is kind of, I don't know, it sounds good, sort of horror-esque, gothic-y, I don't know, from what I've heard about it. I could be entirely wrong, but I have the audiobook of that, so that could also be something that I kind of want to maybe read. My hold came through on my library for Bury Your Gaze by Chuck Tingle, and Chuck Tingle just seems like the perfect person to go into fall and spooky season. There is also The Wild and Wicked Things by Francesca May, and I tried doing the audiobook of this, I think last year, maybe the year before. Hated the narrator. So I kind of want to get to this year, and I've forgotten most of what I originally read. But in a world of 1920s decadence and excess, Francesca May's irresistible debut was just of gothic, of dark magic, romance, and murder. That sounds interesting, right? On Crow's Island, people whisper real magic lurks below the surface. Magic doesn't interest Annie Mason, not after it's not her future. She's on the island only to settle her late father's estate and hopefully reconnect with her long-absent best friend, Beatrice, who fled their dreary lives for a more glamorous one. Yet Crow Island is brimming with temptation, and the most mesmerising may be her enigmatic new neighbour, mysterious and alluring Emmeline Delacroix. Crooks Creek is a figure shadowed by rumours of witchcraft, and when Annie witnesses a confrontation between Bee and Emmeline at one of Crow's Island's extravagant parties, she is drawn into a glittering haunted world, a world where the boundaries of wickedness are tested and the cost of illicit magic might be death. It sounds interesting, it sounds witchy, it sounds kind of a little bit spooky, murderous, but it has also been on my TBR for like way too long. I need to get it off my TBR. So I have a variety of options because I'm such a me reader. It could be any one of those. Is there a new release you're still waiting for? Of course. Who do you think I am? Most of these I have arcs for, so the fact that I'm still waiting for them is kind of a moot point because I could just read them, but I haven't yet. Blood for the Undying Throne, which is book 2 to the Blood of the Old Kings, and if you haven't heard me talk about that book enough, you have not been hanging around long enough, because I adore that series. It's one of the best dragon fantasy books I've ever read, and just trust me, go in. It's brilliant, amazing. Oh my god. Gripped me. I couldn't put the book down. Obviously, Strength of the Few, which is book 2 to Wood of the Many. That's going to be on so many people's highly anticipated list. It's on mine. I'm either going to go absolutely feral when it comes out and no one talks to me, that's all I'm going to read, or I'm going to put it aside and not touch it until let the whole hype thing's calmed down. Blackfire Blade. Yeah, I have an arc for that. I still haven't read that, but I'm debating or not. I know he's put a really, really good recap of Silver Blood Promise in Blackfire Blade arc, which is good. But I'm like, do I want to reread or not? I might not, but there also is that side of it. Cinder House, which again, I have an arc for that. It's Freya Mask. I'm also waiting to read that closer to release month so I can put it in for her grid. And then there is also Empire of the Dawn, which I don't have an arc for Strength of the Few, which is sad, or Empire of the Dawn. But I have pre-ordered Empire of the Dawn. Annoyingly, I can't go and see Joe Christoph when he's doing his tour in London or Canterbury, which is kind of near enough to me because I am working, which sucks. But anyway, those are my releases I'm waiting for. Empire of the Dawn, I don't know if I want to immediately pick up because I feel like I kind of want to binge read the series, so I might do that next year, is binge read Empire of the Vampire, Empire of the Damned, then Empire of the Dawn. What are the 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? Well, I have Strength of the Few on here, so maybe I'll be reading that. I also have Cried Voidbringer because it is an arc. I need to get through some of my arcs, and I'm kind of being allured to this at the moment. There is also Black Sun. I want to try this because I originally DNF'd the audio. I wasn't vibing with this, but then the Broken Binding did this edition. I already used my skip this year, so I had to take it in, and I want to know if I want to keep it or not, because if not, I'll just sell it if I don't like it, and other people can enjoy this, because I know a lot of people love this series. I just don't know if it will be for me or if it was the audio that was blocking me from enjoying the book. Is there a book you think can still shock you and become your favourite book of the year? Yes, most likely, which I have down as a Malazan book, which is going to be true. If I can get through House of Chains and get to Midnight Tides, I have a high hope that Midnight Tides is going to be like top tier. But I'm such a me reader, so it kind of depends. I'm currently reading Magician, 3 chapters in, enjoying it surprisingly more than I expected I would. So it could easily be that, could be like, oh, hang on a minute, that might be another favourite. It also could be Freya Mask, because currently she is still standing on the absolute favourite book I've read this year, Memory of Ice being very, very close. So I don't know. Something I'm a mood reader. I can't really say what. There's so many things. If I decide to pick up A Wall of Storms, that could become a favourite. Brigands and Bread Knives, which I've got an arc for, could become a favourite because I adored Bookshops and Bone Dust. I'm a bit on Legends and Lattes, but I liked Bookshops and Bone Dust. If I manage to get to the Lotus Empire, I'm pointing at it on my shelf like I'm not even going to pick it up. What is wrong with me? Which is book 3 to the Jasmine Throne. That could be one as well. This could be so many. Metal from Heaven, I've got the audio for that. The Last Kingdom, I have the audio for that. It's so many. A lot of books could become a favourite. Have you already started making reading plans for next year? I don't really do reading plans. I don't really set reading goals. I actually don't really agree with them. I think they're good if you want to get into a habit of reading, if you're not really a reader, but if you're already a reader and you're consuming all these content and you're here watching booktube and stuff, you don't really need a goal for your reading. I think it adds too much pressure. But what I might try and do next year, instead of a reading goal, I might say, oh, I actually want to tackle a lot of my sequels, because guess what? I'm in the middle total of like 67, 69 series. It's a lot. So I either need to DNF a couple of series with a time, or I need to just start tackling them and actually reading sequels next year and not just reading new series and new books and stuff like this. Some of them, I don't understand why I'm doing this, so that might be what I do next year. And then I might also try and read down my physical TBR and try and actually make more time to actually physically read instead of being online all the time. That's probably what I might do. That is the end of the yearbook tag. I hope you enjoyed. If you want to answer the questions below, drop them in the comments. Talk to me about some stuff. Talk to me about books. Do you see anything here that you really liked or do you think you don't like? I love these discussions. Comment below and hopefully I will see you in the next one.